What's up, guys? Zach Dewhurst, Business Development Manager at DecoNetwork here with Monty Mims from SanMar. How's it going, Monty?
It's going great, pal. Good to see you.
Monty, I joke that my favorite company in the industry is SanMar before even Deco because SanMar, in my experience, sets the benchmark when it comes to service. And I'm real excited to talk about how Deco Network integrates with SanMar because in my shop, we use the integration every single day when it comes to building quotes for customers, building stores and ordering portals, and then actually ordering the blanks. The integration is extremely powerful. And quite frankly, a lot of Deco Network users aren't taking advantage of it. And I'm excited to talk with you about why shops really should be using the integration to its full potential, not only to automate, reduce mistakes, but just streamline the workflow, Monty. Um, so, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself and SanMar?
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I agree. It's a little bit biased for sure, but SanMar being family owned and operated, certainly well over 50 years. The leadership that we have, the team, the tenure that I get to work with every day is extremely powerful. And I know that not only as a teammate member of SanMar, but my background was I grew up in my father's shop down here in Tampa, Florida. So I was technically a customer of SanMar's for many years. Joined them in 2007, started as a territory manager, what we call for our outside sales team. So I covered North Florida, South Georgia, lived that wonderful life for 9 years, and then joined the team that I'm a part of today, whose primary role and function manages our network of contract decorators. But we also do have an affiliate program where we cross the aisles at trade shows and make relationships with many of the industry's leading equipment, consumable, and service providers, of which I've had the pleasure of working with you and me tech and the team at DecoNetwork for many years. Software plays a powerfully important role in the model of a contract decorator. That is truly a process and efficiency based business focus. And so contract decorators using smart technology systems to not only manage workflow, but customer communication with status portals and things is incredibly powerful. So self-professed process efficiency geek here for sure. And love that we're going to chat about some of the things that DecoNetwork offers to our mutual customers.
Well, I love the contract decoration world and love to talk more about that. But when it comes to Deco Network, what we've always seen is there's a lot of different types of shops. There's some that want to be contract decorators, some want to outsource, some want to go B2B, B2C. It doesn't really matter what your business model is in the industry. At the end of the day, most orders revolve around taking a blank, putting artwork on it, and getting the customer to pay for it. And there's some types of steps involved in between, but I love how many different ways you can make money, the different models, but almost every single one of them revolves around taking a blank and dropping artwork on it. So, what do we have with Deco Network? Well, if we go back into the admin product section, we can enable the SanMar catalog. And after we've enabled the SanMar catalog, which is updated every single month, SanMar adds new products. It's given to Deco Network's catalog team where they will add them to the catalog, add decoration boxes, define certain types of colors, do a lot of things behind the scenes to make that product work as turnkey as possible. But once you've enabled that catalog, Monty, and this is just often overlooked, if we go into the supplier account details, this is where we can enable our customer account information. So I can put in my username, my password, my account number, and email SanMar integration at sanmar.com. They flip the switch on their end, Monty. And in my experience, it takes them like a few hours to initiate that flip of the switch on SanMar's end. And once that's been done, we can take advantage of two things: live inventory which is extremely popular. It does us no good to sell a product that we can't get our hands on. And then, secondly, Monty, it allows us to buy the blank products with a click of a button through DecoNetwork. Um, it's extremely important. Again, if you think about the COVID days a few years ago in inventory, it was very important. So, Monty, can you talk to us a little bit about, the catalog is being up? How often is SanMar updating its catalog as far as products? Because when Deco gets the update, it does involve adding new products, discontinuing, adding colors, discontinuing colors. I know, like the Bella Canvas, we just got a lot of new colors for a lot of products and so forth. So, yeah, how does that work?
No, it's all great points. A system like Deco Network managing that, keeping up with our product ad schedule. I mean, we'll generally have two launches a year, a spring and summer at the beginning of the year, and then we're just about to launch our fall winter. There's literally new items loaded onto samar.com today, but it's not necessary that you grab everything right away. So having Deco Network manage a good frequency pattern to pull down that product inventory, like you also mentioned, also managing and manicuring colors that have been dropped, product that have been dropped is highly important. We hear it. I'm sure you all hear it. There's a new style, there's a new color, there's a new brand even, and both our mutual users will be asking, when is this going to be available, right? So that's one of the key details of this integrated relationship is, frequent managing and manicuring of product data. The second one, though, like you mentioned, is having close to, if not real-time inventory, and then also pulling in account-specific pricing. I believe we're going to take a look at where that resides here in Deco Network today. And then lastly, I want to speak to that setup process. So yes, you have to do what we call a credentialing step, where you have to provide your account member username details. Does go to our team. There is a little bit of some manual configuration that takes place on our side. That's why it does, require that outreach to our integration team. But also, as you mentioned, our integration team is extremely nice, very friendly, very responsive. So they can also be a good lifeline resource for other questions you might have. But they're going to be looking at to how you're paying. Are you using PSSD decorators? Other key details that are really needed to make sure that if you are submitting and processing an order through Deco Network, it is handled quickly and effectively. So there is that great communication between both parties to get you set up for success.
Just because you mentioned it, and we see this huge trend of more and more shops buying less equipment and staying lean and outsourcing to contract decorators. And there is a shipping method here. I can choose what the default shipping method it is, and one of them is what we would say is packed separately, shipped together, PSST. So if I'm working with the contract decorator, what exactly does that mean, Monty? And what's the advantage of working with a contract with PSST?
Yeah, PSST is a wonderful service. It's really been our model to certainly keep SanMar far away from decoration and doing that ourselves. We began that program and that research about 15 years ago, really looking at how can we collaborate with contract decorators to provide some of the advanced benefits between the two of us working together, as opposed to working with a supplier who does decoration. There's great strength to that. It's a single point of contact. There's typically no spoilage. There's lots of perks there. So we built really from the feedback of some of the country's largest contract decorators. What are some tools and resources that you all would need to help us collaborate and build this better? And some of those things include, no minimum free shipping, but that's not necessarily to specifically drive smaller orders. It's enabling users to be able to process or submit their orders to us by PO so that those orders will flow more, grouped together. And that really helps with the receiving and the workflow process at the decorator shop. They do have tools for service. They do have contact tools for order error recovery if something's misshipped. They can work directly with, their own SanMar team to get things resolved quickly and efficiently. So lots of great features there. It is definitely appealing. It definitely can encourage even someone in the decoration space to want to go focus more on selling and marketing and utilize a very strong network of decorators as well as that program.
Yep. I mean, I see the contract decorators getting bigger and bigger these days, and fewer people buying bigger equipment like screen printing. If you aren't already in it,
Yep.
it's not the case. So now, inventory. It starts with inventory. I've got to make sure I can get my hands on the product before I sell it, because if I can't get my hands on it, I can't buy it. One thing I like that Deco has is the ability to create an inventory buffer. Just because the product is there when I quote it, it doesn't mean it's going to be there when I buy it. Just so what we can do is we can uh, put a buffer, something like, hey, if there's less than 10 or 20 of a SKU, I look at that as out of stock. Because I might quote it now, but then later it takes the customer 2 days. Well, that inventory wasn't held. I mean, inventory is not, it's not until we have an actual order, right,
Well,
Monty?
and it is, but it's, funny a little kind of aspect of this topic that even I was guilty of kind of misrepresenting. There was a time when I thought foolishly if you threw items in a shopping box or shopping cart and held it, that was somehow physically holding the goods for you. It doesn't really work like that. Even through SanMar.com, much less a third-party system, when you electronically submit an order, yes, it does get to us in an automated way. Yes, there's no one keying that order on our side, so it is processing very quickly. But the real truth is, you're not guaranteed to get those items shipped to you until John goes to the pick bin, pulls those products out, kind of scratches them off the list. I mean, it's really a physical manual process at that stage. So it is important to set thresholds. I saw this trend rise up very quickly in 2021. Like you mentioned, those were very troubling times of the supply chain. People were constantly selling things they couldn't ultimately fulfill or get. And so I started working with some of the web store platforms out there, inclusive of DecoNetwork, to say, hey, is there a way that you can either display inventory, which again can be a little misleading if they see those count numbers, but they see five and they're ordering five and they just assume they're going to get all five. Or the strategy I learned that was more effective was to be able to have a back end setting where you can set those minimum buffers or thresholds. You put 10, I'm a little more comfortable at 20. I want to give myself a little bit of extra breathing room. It's great to, be able to under promise and over deliver,
Yep.
as opposed to those calls and emails that you have to follow up with end user clients to say, I know Barbara ordered this, and this last night, but I can only get two of the three. Let's make a switch. It ruins that user experience, and they would almost rather see that, grayed out or unavailable, make their own adjusted decision. And for your sake, to know that your orders are more pure, more honest, more ready to go, more time spent processing as opposed to apology.
Well, and something else we're going to talk about here in a little bit is just the popularity of stores and ordering portals. And typically that's even more so something that you sell, but you don't order
Mm.
for, longer than you would if you had quoted and got that approval, typically quicker. So definitely need to account for that as well. Okay, so this is how we simply connected with Deco. We add the catalog, we put in our account credentials, we contact SanMar, they flip the switch, like you said. We talk about account terms, things like split ship and so forth. How are we going to pull? And then putting in this inventory buffer. Essentially, at that point, Monty, we have the tools to put together a really great quote. When it comes to our industry, there's a lot of different business models, but most of us want to work with a business. A lot of us work with schools and so forth. It is heavily revolves around quoting. Most customers don't that we work with don't place the same orders that you do on Custom Ink. Custom Ink is, yeah, we get those types of orders, but if you're looking for a client, that business, that relationship in which they're going to spend thousands of dollars a year with you, they're not going to Custom Ink at any point and thinking about doing it that way. It's all about catering to their needs. And when it comes to getting a new client, sometimes they're going to be bidding out that job, or they're going to try you out for the first time. And speed is a big thing, Monty. We live in the world of instant gratification. They don't want to wait. We get that quote request. We want to get that into an official quote to the customer for them to approve. Now, something that's really cool is on a Deco site, we can have these SanMar products, the entire catalog or a limited amount of products on the site, and empower the customer to find one of those products. And what I highly suggest shops do is make it revolve around the shops finding a product and then filling out the form and telling us what they're looking to order. Most shops want to place a more complex order than it is just to add just one shirt. If a business, hey, I need some t-shirts, but I also need a hat and I need it to match this. And it's nuances with your average clientele. So let's just get the ball rolling a little bit. And having the catalog on there, customer selects a product, requests a quote. It'll come into the order management system, Business Hub here, Monty. And we now have a product, and the customer is saying, hey, I'm looking to put this design and some of these other things. We have the snowball is starting to accumulate. It's our job to, push it across the finish line and get it done. So whether the customer calls us, walks in, I don't care how it is. Most jobs start as a quote. And in Deco, it's as simple as finding a customer, finding a product. So, Monty, what's one of your favorite t-shirts these days?
Oof. I'm always a fan of the PC 450.
The
Lots of
fan favorite.
colors.
I'll
Fan
tell you,
favorite all
I'm
day.
gonna I'm gonna actually go 455 because
Oh
for as
yeah.
a 50-50 in the price, guys, this is so soft of a shirt. Um, but I do like the fan favorite because those colors are really rich and they match really well. And something this is one of the reasons I love working with SanMar. It's a SanMar brand, and I always talk about SanMar's product families. Like
Mm,
I build my product mix around like 12 product families. I have the very important line,
yep.
so I like that. That's a little bit, it's essentially the same price point as a fan favorite, but some of us like a heavier cotton, some of us like a
Mm.
lighter. There's no such thing as what's the best shirt. Well, what do you like? Do you like poly? Do you like cotton? You like blends? You like tri blends?
Well, and you're
Um,
right about the families too, because like you said, a lot of times you're selling to a group. There's going to be adult and youth. There's going to be men's and women's needs, long sleeve. And so having those family, especially the name identification aspect, like you mentioned, very important T, fan favorite. You can even search by that on SanMar.com, see those things. You may even be surprised, oh my gosh, they have a fleece, they have, different items that will correlate. And then it gets down to colors. So a lot of people like to kind of joke and tease about different color names, but the important thing with color names is if it says Team Red or True Navy, and it's saying that here for this Sport Tech item and saying here for this Sport Tech item, those navies are going to line up or that green's going to line up, which is important. People still want to have that uniform kind of connected color story as part of their branding. And so the color names are important as well as those family names as, tying all together.
Absolutely. Like this competitor, this is easily one of the go-to athletic lines in the industry. And if you buy the ST350 and a color and you approach your customer and like, okay, here's what this maroon looks like, because that's my local high school. I know every single one of these products that come in maroon, that's exactly what it's going to match. And you can build a very simple product mix for both your team and your customers when you make it revolve around product families, especially when it comes to stores. I work with schools. I need the youth t-shirt to match the ladies v-neck and so forth. Competitor at leisure wear, perfect try, super soft tri blend, fan favorite. Um, these are the things that I love about SanMar is that one, you guys manufacturing these products also means you have really good control over inventory and the ability to mix and match. It just makes that's what the customer often wants. But the fan favorite guys, after that nice long tangent, this is an awesome 50-50 for the soft. Highly recommend anybody out there, take advantage of SanMar's marketing assets. Grommeted samples. Get some grommeted
Mm.
samples. I mean, Monty, it's amazing how many shops overlooked this. SanMar will grommet products like these at half the normal price in the color you request. So if you've got that big client and like, hey, I want to show them what this looks like, then it represents 20 other cuts. Very powerful tool, Monty. It's a team, just like at DecoNetwork. The more successful a shop is, the more they're gonna, Deco benefits. The more successful a SanMar customer is, the more products they got to buy. So we all want to help each other, reach our goals. But when we got to put
Yeah, we
together a
do. We
quote,
do look at
sorry,
yeah, we do look at our customers as, our real sales force out there. And so bringing grommeted samples, using the naming conventions like we've been talking about, we really want to simplify that selling process for our customers so they can think of us and have a successful win with their end use clients for sure.
not just the name, but the style code. PC 455, 455V,
Mm,
455LS. It's so simple. I wish Nike
mm.
would take note some of those code names, but
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of
very.
our brands are good. We have a few inconsistencies, and then certainly some of our retail brand partners deviate from that a little bit. But generally, we try to keep it as simple as possible.
So when it comes to a shirt, we got to first select our color. So let's do Sapphire Heather. It's kind of in the realm of Deco SanMar Blue. And we can quickly look at the different inventory amount across all of SanMar's warehouses. If it's 4,500, we know that they have more than that on hand. So I'm not going to have any inventory issues here unless I buy more than 274 XLs. So in Deco, when it comes to creating a quote, it's all about dropping a design on the shirt. So we need to select how we're going to decorate it. Now, we as decorators, we know, oh, high run, a lot of low amount of colors, we're going to screen print it. Small order, lots of colors, we're going to digitally DTF it. So let's just DTF. All right, Monty, we've got the DecoNetwork logo here. The logo's blue. That's obviously not going to be optimal, so we'll make us all white. And when we create a quote for the customer, a very important thing is to give them the visualization of what it's going to look like. And when it comes to a product like this PC 455, this is actually a bit of a nightmare for DecoNetwork's catalog team because it's a header. And the only way to simulate a header is to upload an actual image that SanMar provided us. We can't just, upload one image and then use a hex code to simulate any color. So this heathered look is important to get on the same page with the customer because if it looked solid and then they actually got a heathered product, they don't maybe understand that the
Oof.
name heathered and the name means that. A picture says 1,000 words. So there's a lot less ambiguity. In the old school days, oh, I got to go into SanMar, download the image, go into Photoshop, drop the customer's art. You don't want to do all of that, and then in QuickBooks, you can just type, oh, I have this, but there's no visualization. So with Deco, I can quickly find the product, confirm the inventory for this specific SKUs, drop the artwork on there, and depending on the decoration method too, Monty, it's going to calculate the price accordingly. So if it was screen printing, it would be counting colors. If it was digitally, it's typically going to look at the size. If it's embroidery, it's going to count stitches, however you set it up. But just this visualization of being able to quickly drop that money is very important. And like we were talking about earlier, customers often, oh, by the way, I need some of this in this color. Now I need some of these in this color. And we just start back over, if you're not utilizing a tool like DecoNetwork. So if the customer was like, hey, I need also the ladies version, well, I'll copy the line item. And this is why I love SanMar's products, the families LPC. I know that I put an L at the beginning, PC455V. Oh, we have a royal. We don't have the
Oh, we picked
sapphire.
a funky color. Yeah.
Now we're going to
Yeah.
come back. We'll
And
go royal
that is one of
bow.
the challenges, but
But look
yep. I
how
want to
long did that take
speak
me
to
to
that.
switch, Monty? You know, versus if I had
No,
downloaded it to the first one. And
yep.
the
But
yeah. So,
well, I was going to say regarding the colors out there, today we don't have that heather sapphire, but I think that's where I'm seeing us really advance and evolve back well beyond what I would have imagined when I was a territory manager, and not just on our own brands. You mentioned the other day you saw a big load of product come in and additional color ads from Bella Canvas. We are doing that with Bella Canvas. We are doing that with Comfort Colors Next Level, where traditionally we had stocked just their top sellers, either with styles and colors. We're really expanding that. And then our SanMar sports team has been out there and in front of, you know, customers that sell into those sports markets, adding and bolstering youth, making a color palette consistent, especially important in that uniform space. If you don't have those top 8, 10, team colors locked
yep.
in for adult, for youth, all consistent, men's, ladies. So today we don't have that heather sapphire, but as these styles continue to grow, take shape, and really, sell stronger, we will expand those sizes. We'll expand those colors for sure.
Well, I don't know too many schools, which the fan favorite really helps target schools, are a heathered, but my school is maroon, and I have all
Sure.
of my sports accounts, and maroon is a hard color, and you have athletic. You talked about the actual names, which is extremely important because maroon is one of the biggest ones. You have athletic
Hmm.
maroon, you have a team maroon, you have maroon. Like there's
Garnet,
very
Cardinal,
yes.
similar.
Uh but and by the way, love the United line of
Mm,
sportswear. By the way,
that's one of
there's
those new
I
additions.
love it,
Yeah.
and it just yeah, and it I can match those shorts, and I have a youth version. It to me it doesn't ever do me much good to have a product if it's only available. It's if I'm working with schools and sports teams, if it's only
Oh,
available in
yeah.
adult or late, it just
Right.
I need it available for everybody for team wear, sportswear. It's not like corporate wear where yeah, I can take that just in a women's, that's it, and call it a day. And it comes in two colors. I build my product mix around
Right.
product families that often come in a lot of colors so I can meet my customers' demands
Hmm.
and not have to keep searching for something else because oh, it doesn't come in royal. I mean, almost everything does, but you'd be shocked how many products still don't. Um, but Monty, found our
Yeah.
products. We're able to put that same artwork on different items, different colors. Even in deco, let's say that, okay, the ladies actually want it on white. Well, no problem there. We'll just, on the white one, we'll make it blue. So it's
And
all
Zach, I
about,
noticed, I think a key distinction in this building process is you didn't create a new item, you clone the existing item, right? That's what kept
yep.
the art files and everything kind of as a consistent marker. And then you can still go back and change the product and edit colors, but much faster, easier as opposed to starting with a whole new, blank slate, right?
Yep. And if you do
Okay.
it that way, or if you add them as a blank slate, you can link them. As in, when we build a customer,
Mm,
it's about how many total impressions of that design. It's not how many, you know, of this line. If the customer wants different colors, that's a different line item. It's a different or a different product. But we want to base the print price, the decoration across all line items using that same artwork. So that's another really powerful thing, Monty, is you want pricing in deco is automatic. Counts colors, looks at quantity, links lines to automatically price because anybody should be able to put together a quote within the first day of joining a shop. You take the customer's, well, if you know what product, you take the product, you drop the artwork on there, or you
mm.
could drop a placeholder, you mock it up like we've done, and it's as simple as save an email quote to the customer. The customer gets an emailed link to view their quote in their account. They can approve or reject the quote. If they reject it, they can tell us why, and we can hopefully salvage it and get them to turn it into an official order. If they approve the quote, they can then pay for it. It's really that simple. But so many shops that we see, Monty, Deco is the all-in-one solution. We have a front-end site, we have the back-end order management system, we have web stores. A lot of shops make the misconception that they're going to be the next Custom Ink and that having an online e-commerce solution is the solution to all their problems. It's the key to growth. It's not. We still very much so live in a relationship world where there needs to be face-to-face contact. There's a lot of problem solving. I look at every order as a problem. Customer needs something. Well, that's a problem they technically are trying to solve. It's our job to help them get it solved. I want, that's something that
I'm
our
looking
job is
for.
to
Yeah.
solve it. And the big misconception I've learned, took me 15 years, the service we provide is not the act of decorating, Monty. That's not.
Hmm.
Customer doesn't care how it's decorated, who decorates it, where it was decorated. All they care is that it got to them the way they thought it was going to look on time
Yeah.
at the fair price that they should have gotten. Every so it's all about delivering. That what goes behind, it's like going to a restaurant. Yeah, it'd be cool to see the what's going on in the kitchen, but I really don't care. I just care what it comes out at the end. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's actually the work is back here, but we are the waiter. We are the waitress. That's our job. We're the contact, but how much work did we actually do? We took care of you.
Right.
I kind of came up with that analogy right there, but yeah, if you really think about it, and to you people out there with contract decorating and distribution, think of your restaurant as your contract decorator. You are the waiter. You are the point of contact with the customer. They never talk with the chef, right? I mean, it can be the same experience, Monty. And when you focus on selling
Mhm.
and working with the customer, that's when you grow your business. It's all about building relationships, and quoting to a new customer is the one of the best ways to get that. Hey, you got it to me quick, looked real professional. I clicked on my link and I got to this little portal. I approved my quote, now became an order. Um, Really can get the ball
Yep.
rolling with the relationship.
And I want to speak to that a little bit. Our leadership feels the same way. We, started utilizing this mantra of business is personal the last 3 to 4 years, and it really relates to this. And I think it's a timely statement because we do see so many things being automated where, commonplace. To your point, anybody can use a system, build a system for fast, quick quotes. It is about that relationship. It is about having a connection, a personal connection with those end user clients, discussing what their needs and wants are. Maybe they brought goods from somebody the previous time who just sold them what they asked for, but you can come in as like what maybe they don't like. What are they really hunting for? One of the best things I used to do when I worked at my dad's shop was not just write that order down from someone who came in and said, I got these t-shirts last time. This is what we've been using. I would really try to dig into why they picked those. And a lot of times they're saying, we didn't. The guy just told us this is what to get, right?
Yep.
And so you can kind of ask questions beyond that prior experience. And it can work 6, 7, 8 out of 10 times. And all of a sudden they walk out going, gosh, we came in with this expectation of this. This person used their knowledge and experience to recommend something else, and ultimately we were happier and better for it. So that's securing a customer not just as a one-time deal, but hopefully somebody for life.
Turning that customer into a client is the key. A client keeps coming back. A customer just looks for that quick problem to be solved. I want to build a relationship. But now it comes down to delivering. We showed them what it's going to be. You're only as strong as your supply chain, Monty. That's the old saying. So when I quoted, I confirmed that we had inventory, and it would have thrown up red flags if I didn't. So Monty, now that we have an order, we need to obtain the blanks. I mean, this is typically what kicks off production. We are going to order the blanks, And simultaneously, our art department is going to start digitizing, vectorizing, separating colors. The two happen at the same time. But I'm going to raise that PO. I need to buy the blanks. So I can do that three ways. I can raise the PO within this order specifically. Now, in this case, I've got 72 shirts that are around $2.50 each. So I'm going to be right around that free shipping, um, based on some quick math. But if I want to make sure I'm always getting to free shipping, I can come over here to purchase orders and I can raise a PO here, which is for everything I need to order across all my open orders. So, I'm not a PSST decorator. I can't just order $100 worth of shirts and get free shipping. So, what's the magic number? I mean, it's literally a magic number. And there's a misconception that DecoNetwork's PSS or DecoNetwork Smart PO integration means we automatically order the blanks when we submit a smart PO or when we generate a PO. That's not the case. We first generate a PO. We create a list of what it is we need to buy, Monty, and then we can choose to send it or not. I highly recommend sending it. Why? Well, it automates it, and if you download it and then key it in, you're more likely to make a mistake. It's just much quicker and easier. So, Monty, one thing that is a little confusing to our new users is when my user pricing from SanMar comes into play. So, when we quote or have a front end website or a web store, it's using what we would call the original price from SanMar. The sale price for some products changes fairly often, could be week to week. The PC 455 here is one that has a sale price and an original price. So when we made this order, we said that the product's price for most of these sizes was $361. Then we applied a 50% markup so that we charge $542 to the customer. The big number here is the $361 is the original price. When we raise the purchase order, it is coming in at $299, which is the sale price. This is the actual price if I was on SanMar's site checking out. And that's very important because you see how we're at $175, Monty? This isn't going to ship for free. And that's a very important thing to remember here. Deco's Smart PO, this is going to pull up your account specific price. And it's very important. And if you get into this situation where you're batching purchase orders and you're underneath it, I refuse to pay for shipping. Monty, if I put $25 worth of blank shirts, it's probably cheaper than paying for shipping for $175. So what I could do
Yeah,
is
and it's what's nice about it too, Zach, is as long as you get to that $200, if we have to ship two shirts out of another warehouse, we've always looked at that as our challenge and problem, not yours. So you also don't have to be too mindful. We certainly appreciate if you're adding a few extra items and pull it from the same warehouse, but if you're combining different orders, like what your system is capable of doing, you don't have to be incredibly focused on that. It'll still ship free freight.
Well, and what's also pretty cool about here, Monty, is okay, I added these 10 extra smalls. So now I'm at 202. It's going to ship for free. Well, in Deco, if you want, by doing this, it is automatically going to get added to my inventory. So if I have an order down the road and I can pull from this inventory that I'm buying right now, it'll automatically bypass this purchase order buying the blank phase. It'll tell me, go pull that off the shelf because we've already bought it in a situation like here when we're trying to get to free shipping. But what we're doing right here is this is our list. If I'm on SanMar, this is the checkout page. And then I'm going to click save. So now this is, on SanMar's site. Okay, well, how do you want it shipped? How do you want to pay it at this point? That's what this is. So I could go the old school route, Monty. I can download and I could key it in myself. I could come up to send purchase order. I could do it email. I don't
Hmm.
recommend email if possible, because what you're really doing is you're emailing it to a rep that has to key it in, and that's not instantaneous. You start submitting this at 3:45, that doesn't mean that they're going to have the time to key it in and so forth. But if you do the Smart PO direct send, Monty, that is the equivalent of clicking buy on SanMar's site, and it is officially in the system and it's starting to be pulled. Correct?
It is. I mean, again, that there is that time delay between even receiving an electronic order, getting it to the appropriate DC, somebody, printing that out or moving into actually pulling inventory. So there could be several hours there. That goes back to what we were talking about, having a good safety threshold on your inventory. Again, 10 to 20 feels like a fair number so that when you do electronically submit that order, you're giving that time window of the goods actually pulled out of those bins in the warehouse a fair shot.
Awesome. Well, Monty, the integration with SanMar, as a shop owner who's been a SanMar customer for 12 plus years, it's extremely helpful. When I signed up for DecoNetwork 15 years ago, there was no integration. I had to add the Gildan 5000 and several products. It was a lot of work. Come a long way as far as being able to automate, having live inventory, being able to purchase. I mean, this was not in the realm of when, again, I started. But those automations, it really does help from both the sales, but from a production workflow. It's not just a fancy bell and whistle. This stuff really helps, especially from ordering the wrong product. That happens way too often. Nobody likes getting stuck with inventory, paying restocking fees, anything like that. So, highly suggest again, anybody out there using Deco Network, thinking about Deco Network, you got to take advantage of the Smart PO integration with SanMar so that you can quote live, can use the live inventory throughout the system, but then buying the blank product with a couple of clicks, Monty. It can be a game changer when you're
Yep.
trying to automate your shop.
And there's a labor component to all of this, Zach. I mean, as you're hiring employees and you're training them up in this system to be able to show, here's a supplier, we know our pricing is going to be accurate. We can see inventory and remove any sort of buffered issues there from ordering something that's too low in inventory or completely out. And again, maybe that person you're training up is keying orders separately. Well, this reduces that, right? You've already brought all the product data in from the quote stage to now you're getting ready to process it. There's a labor component where it really does cut down on that amount of training time, that potential user error. I mean, every time there's something miskeyed or done incorrectly, whether it's on y'all side or on our side, now you're back into recovery. Well, you just
Yep.
lost a day, maybe more, even until you found out that there was a mistake made. So, working with frequently updated, accurate, and your account specific data for submitting these POs is critical to an efficient model and certainly is in alignment with modern business practices today.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you do make a mistake, you can record waste in Deco. It just adds it to the next PO. So automation. Don't try to automate your customer's relationship. Automate the workflow, the quoting, and you'll find success. Thank you so much, Monty, guys. As SanMar speaks for themselves, definitely check out their product line. If you haven't already, really look into those grommeted samples. And if you're just getting started, check out their contract decorator network, the PSST decorators. Monty leads that group. And thanks again, Monty, so much. Guys, go to sanmar.com.
Thanks, Zach. We appreciate you guys. Y'all have been a strong integrated affiliate of ours for many years. And again, it's through our mutual customer experience that they're having a winning combination here between using your tech, all the important integrations you've built in tandem with us. And we appreciate your letting us come on today.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Monty.